computer. Awesome. Guys, so first we're gonna go over volume compression. If you didn't look at the last webinar that we had on this, I'm going to be posting that again so you guys can take a look at it. But I found some pretty cool stuff that I've been testing overnight and testing during the day, cache session and stuff like that. And I found the volume compression decompression system to work very well on the 15-minute chart. And let's turn on the indicator, buying, selling volume. And, oh, I think I already had it. Oh, well, let me take off these right here. Now, the only thing about this indicator is that you don't want to use the one where you have like a green here and then red here. You want to make sure you have one like this one right here for this strategy that I've been using, pretty often these last few days. Is that available on TOS? Yes, Steve. TOS does have this type of indicator. I know some people have a different indicator, but a friend of mine has this exact same indicator. I'm going to ask for the link to that, and then I'll forward it to you guys. So guys, this tool is really, really awesome when it comes to trading the cash sessions. Basically the non-after hours, non-pre-market. Let me turn on regular trading hours. Okay, 15-minute. Okay, today's session was pretty good, but we didn't have any basically major setups today to where we could, use for this system. The volume was okay, but it didn't have any like real major volume flips until here. And we can use this example right here. What is the indicator called on TradingView? This indicator is called buying, selling volume. Let me show it to you guys so you guys can, buying, selling volume by this guy. I don't know how to say that name. Or a girl, whoever, whatever that person is. So guys, in the 15-minute chart, I noticed that this strategy works really well. And I don't remember if you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm sorry, that I like to look for basically this little compression and volume going on right here. Okay, so basically what's going on here is the seller volume is the one that's being lost the most right here. You can see how we have, pretty good selling volume, a lot of buying volume, pretty good selling volume. And then right here, just selling volume starts fading away. And we start getting more buying volume. This is also why I took my profits on NQ. And I was telling you guys that, NQ would have a more aggressive reaction to a bounce than ES. Well, this was ES bouncing right here. And let's take a look at NQ. Let me remove the volume rents. And well, this was NQ. The NQ bounce was just a lot more aggressive than the bounce on ES. Let's see, we measure this, NQ bounced almost 1%, while ES bounced about 0.5%. So you can see how much more volatile, much more aggressive the price action is on NQ. That was one of the reasons I closed NQ and only left my ES runner. But let's go back into the volume compression strategy. So You guys can see how basically the selling pressure down here just starts to fade away, both up here and down here, and as well as the volume, as well as the buying pressure too. You can see, the major compression coming in right here. And you can see how, sellers disappear in a few candles, and all of a sudden you have a doji right here, some sort of doji right here. Basically, and when this happens, when you have a basically shaded candle over here and not like fully green or fully red, it's just basically meaning that sellers or buyers took over that candle just by a tiny bit, not by a lot. So you can see the same thing happen over here. You get a doji, green doji. Look at the volume over here. Over here, you get a red doji, or I guess you could call it a doji. And look at what happened over here. And this is when you start seeing more sellers come in. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing prominent sellers. I don't know if you guys remember in the afternoon, I told you guys, hey guys, NQ is approaching. God damn it. Let me mute my phone, guys. Really sorry. NQ is approaching the area where it had the 15-minute setup, which was around here. This was the 15-minute setup around here. And this is where it started rejecting. And right when that happened, we had this not massive volume flip. So that's why I didn't like to take shorts here, because I didn't like the volume. I would have liked to see a lot more volume, selling volume, at least more than this candle. You can see how the sellers go from being nowhere to be seen to, coming in a bit aggressive on these candles. And then we just proceeded to chop most of the session until we closed. So this 15-minute setup, it's one of my absolute favorites. And you can also find it on larger time frames, but it might be a little bit more difficult to see sometimes. So you can see here in the 30-minute. Let's see. Okay, you can see on the 30-minute, you basically have no sellers, and then you have the sudden sellers right here. But once again, the volume was not all that good. Let me session breaks. Okay, should work. Let's see, where can we find another setup? It's pretty hard to find on the larger time frames. I found it more easy to find on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, so you have another setup right here. Okay, so we have previous support right here, approximately. You guys like to draw your supply and demand. So let's say we have a demand zone right here. It's not accurate, but it's just for reference. You can see how right here, you can see how right here there's a small compression on the 15-minute. Basically no buyers in some candles, or very few buyers, and all of a sudden you have this massive pop on the buyer volume right here. And then you have this massive rejection, massive move up. And here it's not very good because the volume is not compressing, I'm sorry, it's decompressing. You can see how volume's increasing right here. Do you guys see that? You guys see the difference right here? So that's why we like to look for, well, I like to look for volume compressions on the 15-minute. I just find them a lot more accurate than on the 30-minute, the 45-minute. And sometimes you'll find them on the 5-minute, but I just found the 15-minute to be the absolute best. Any questions? Doesn't seem like much, but I guess it does. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Based on this, where's your entry point? Well, once you find the 15-minute setups, you want to go to the 5-minute. Okay. Okay, so on the 5-minute, after we find the setup, this is the first momentum candle right here. I mean, these are the first momentum candles right here. So I'm more of an aggressive trader. So for me, as soon as I see this pretty nice candle, I would have entered right here on this and then have like a stop over here. I don't know if you guys notice that I often say, hey guys, if NQ or ES breaks below this previous 5-minute candle or this previous 15-minute candle, it could be bad for buyers or it could be bad for sellers. So what is the first thing that I'm looking at here? Okay. So first we have, the trend coming down here into previous support. Price action is looking pretty weak for the sellers. And these two candles are the ones that, catch most of my attention. Why? Because first we have a sudden burst in buyers, very few sellers. Then we have, some sellers still here and some buyers, but we have more buyers than the previous sellers over here. So, even though we have, half and half, there's just more aggressive buyers coming in here. And then on the next candle, we have very little sellers, and we got, a lot more buyers, and then a lot more buyers, pretty even, more buyers, pretty even, more buyers. So, it's pretty good trend going on here, and it gets a pretty nice move to the upside. Now, I don't like playing the upside that much. I just prefer playing the downside a lot more. But you basically find your setup on the 15-minute, and then you go to your 5-minute chart and try to find your entry on the 5-minute chart. And you want to see momentum candles. You want to see strong green candles or strong red candles for your entries and your stop losses. Since I trade futures, for the stop losses, since I trade futures, I usually like to set my stop loss, just below or above the momentum candles. It just gives me much better risk to reward. I'm risking, let's say I wait for this candle to close, and let's say I wait for a little move down. Let's say I enter, I don't know. Well, let me turn off the magnet. Let's say I enter around here, just say, let's say I enter right here, and my stop loss would be, I don't know, like maybe below these candles right here, or just below this candle. I would have a $3 stop loss. So that's about $150 stop loss, versus my take profit would be like, my first take profit would be like around here. And then we could set up our second take profit like around here. So, that's like a good, I don't know, 10, 12 point move right there. Where is the measuring tool? Okay, so we go from here to here. That's a good 9, 10 points. And then we can manage to get the last price target. That's a good 16, 15 points right there. And that's why you often see me getting like really nice, really precise entries where we have very little drawback, and if the trade does happen to go against us, we have minimal losses, and that's what we want to have. We want to have minimal losses when it comes to trading futures. How much is one contract? For futures on TradeAbate, you need $500 minimum to trade one ES mini contract. I haven't checked for NQ. I forgot what it was for NQ, But and if you want to swing one contract, you only need like $12,000, $13,000. But I usually just swing one contract. I never go over one contract because I'm scared of some crazy gap up or gap down and getting completely liquidated. So I usually just go with one contract because I know if we gap up or gap down, I'm 100% sure I won't get liquidated. But for day trades, you need $500 for minis and $50 for micro ES. I think it's $50. Okay, so now that we went over the volume compression, decompression, and we actually went over one of the strategies that I like using to scalp these moves and ES and then Q. And remember, guys, NQ is basically QQQ. So, whatever NQ does, QQQ will do also. So you can find your levels on NQ or on QQQ and, trade off of those. And I just really like using momentum candles to find my take profits, my entries, my stop losses. Guys, if we remove, if we remove volume, if we remove VWAP, if we remove, all of that, if we just leave price action, what would you guys use to look for setups? We look for double tops, we look for double bottoms, ascending triangles, descending triangles. What will you look for aside from patterns? What else does price action show us? Price levels, okay. And what else do we see in price action? Candles, correct, okay. And what do these candles tell us? Let's say we don't have volume and we don't have, let's say we don't have volume, we don't have VWAP, we don't have any indicators, just the candles. What can the candles tell us? Yes, luck, win, yes. Direction, momentum, movement acceleration, who's in control? That's 100% correct. And a lot of people don't pay much attention to this, but if you think about it, let's say just for example, we have, let's see, where's a good candle? Let's just say we have this candle right here. It's a pretty bullish candle, right? It's a 5-minute massive green candle. I think it's like a $5 candle. It's a $7, $8 candle. Okay, comparing this candle to previous candles, this is pretty damn bullish candle, right? So what is it telling me? There's strong bullish momentum. Now, let's say we close this candle on the 5-minute, but let's say this candle, instead of closing as it is here and moving up, let's say it comes back down to this candle and breaks below this candle. What is that telling us? After a big green candle, a big red candle forms, breaking the previous green candle. What would that tell us? Okay, liquidity grab, that's very possible. Okay, sellers are trying hard to, sell, of course. What else is that telling us? Pullback, okay. Anybody else? Any other guesses? Correct, Win. There's very few aggressive sellers. Remember, market orders move the market. Give me 1 second. Remember, market orders move the market. limit orders are meant to stop the price from moving either up or down. If we don't have aggressive market buyers or sellers, price won't move. So here we have a lot of aggressive buyers. And in response, let's say we get a massive red candle that, breaks down. So, we're seeing that there's pretty damn aggressive sellers as well. And not only that, but let's say, I'm one of these buyers right here. And I mean, based on my strategy, I would have my stop loss, like around right here. So what if the sellers try to, move down? They break the candle, they overtook all those market buyers. All those market sellers overtook all those market buyers. And not only that, but let's say they went ahead and they grabbed their stop losses right here. Let's say on level 2, we saw, I don't know, 300 lots just below this candle. So there's a high possibility that they go and grab those stop losses. And, and that's when the liquidity grab happens against the buyers or against the sellers, depends on, which side it goes. So we'll have basically the stop orders accelerate the move down. We have, market sells entering, stopping the buyers, forcing the buyers to close positions, forcing, the move down and accelerating the move down. Yes, correct, Steve. The limit sell orders here acting as stop losses would cause the move to accelerate, basically causing a long or short squeeze. And that's why it's very, very important, guys, to, identify these momentum candles. If you can identify these momentum candles, you can get so many setups for scalps, 5-10 point scalps. And that's why you guys often see me, getting these really nice scalps without much of a drawdown on our positions, because I look for these momentum candles on the 5 and 15-minute timeframes. And sometimes you'll find them on the 30-minute as well. But like I said, since it's a large time frame, it just takes a bit of a while to form and and sometimes on the 30-minute timeframes, you'll see some pullbacks, some pretty harsh pullbacks that might stop you out on these smaller timeframes. So it's always good to find time frame confluence before you enter a trade. Find your confluence between your bearish or bullish confluence between the 30-minute, the 15-minute, and the 5-minute time frame. Any questions? Comments, concerns, anything? I'm also going to go over one more thing. It's basically how I find my overnight key levels. I usually just like to wait for midnight to take a look at the charts and see what's going on. So for example, where is midnight? Let me mark this with a line. So midnight would be, let's see, right here. Okay, so sometimes even at 10 p.m. you'll see the setup form, and this is 10 p.m. Central, so just so you guys know. What do you mean by scale in? You mean averaging down your position? Yes, we're adding. So that's one of the things about futures, guys. And futures, averaging down on contracts can be really, really harsh, like really, really, really bad. Um, you have to be really precise with your average down. Um, it's very, very dangerous to average down on futures contracts, because once you average down, your losses, you know, just start moving faster against you. Yes, Sam. I mean, averaging down on futures is not the same thing as averaging down on options. It's just nerve-wracking when you see the price, the profit and loss move so violently against you. Oh yeah, yeah, you can. If you get liquidated, you basically lose your whole account. So let's say, oh yeah, and the London Open has some pretty volatile price action, which is 1 a.m. right here. So you can see how we had this little sell-off. I actually took this trade right here. Nice little sell-off that I called out last night. And I think I told the group that I was going to be looking at 42.93, I think. Let's see. That was going to be my key level. And I got this key level basically from over here. I waited for, the price to basically settle down a bit, and then I came back at 10 p.m., watched price, saw some really nice price action, really tiny bounces right here. I told everybody that this was going to be an overnight key level right here. Once we broke it with strength, we saw a really nice move to the downside. I think I caught like 7 or 8 points with 2 contracts on this move down here. And you can see how it recovered, came back down, retested 42.93, and then just became support, came back down again, basically retested. And I know this is, a zone right here. We have like a little zone right here, but I really don't like using the zones that much because it clutters my screen. And but I already have a basically imaginary zone drawn around all these levels. It's just I got used to not drawing these zones, that I just feel more comfortable not having so much cluster on my charts. And I mean, but if we draw a zone right here, we have like a little zone going on right here, like a little area where price sticks to this area right here. When it goes up, it comes back down. When it goes down, comes back up, goes up, goes down, all around this area here. You can see how we had a pretty nasty bounce right here from the overnight session. I think some of you guys took this trade on the cash session. Some people took calls. Really nice trade. Last night I got into here. Got stopped out just before the big drop. How do you time your entry, price action, and volume? I usually just set, for example, if my entry was 42.93 approximately, I come back and see, okay, you know what, what's going on here? What's the price action doing? Okay, so you can see how this level right here is actually, why is this marked here? Was this Thursday close? I don't even know what that is. But you can see how this level here is a pretty good level for a stop loss. So basically, whenever price breaks above this level, we tend to have some pretty crazy moves up. You can see how every time it broke over here, it had some pretty crazy moves up. Here, pretty nasty moves up. Here, pretty nasty moves up. So I should look at price action. If price action is a lot more volatile over here, then I'll have my stop like a point above this level right here. or like 2 points or 3 points. So like for me, my entry was around 42.93, 42.92. So I had about a 5 to 6 point stop loss right here, which is around this level right here. You can see how we never came back above this level. Even after, the sell off and the move up, we never touched it until, this. And once we touched it, price became a lot more volatile. Steve, so on futures, if you go below your margin requirement, you lose it all basically. Like let's say you're trading ES mini contracts, and let's say your account has $800, and let's say you enter a short or long position and you lose $301. Your basically whole account gets liquidated because your minimum margin requirement is $500. That happened to me one time when I first started trading futures. Actually, twice that I left. Yes, 100 barrels in the backyard. It actually happened to me twice when I first started trading futures. I got liquidated on one contract and lost an extra $500 cash. And then one time I was doing a small account challenge and forgot to close a position. It was a micro ES position. It was just one contract. I forgot to close it and I got liquidated because I didn't have $1,250 on that account because it was a small account challenge. I was trying to grow $150 to whatever I could, and it went from 150 to 250, and I forgot to close a position and it got liquidated. So I spent 2 weeks working on it for nothing. So it's really important to know your margin requirements on your what's it called, on your trading platforms. But do you guys understand this? How I find the overnight levels? I like to wait, a good 5 or 6 hours for price to settle, and then try to find a level where I would like to enter either short or long, and set my stop losses according to previous price action. Did that make sense? Any other questions before we wrap it up? I saw on the start of this Zoom you have volume profile. Yes, I do have volume profile. No, I don't plan on going over it today, but I actually do have some I do have some information on volume profiles on my YouTube channel. I can send you guys the link to the YouTube channel so you guys can take a look at it. I actually plan on doing a few volume profile classes for the whole group, but I want to see how I want to organize them so that we can go to the very basics of volume profiles to a more advanced last class in the volume profiles sessions basically. But I do have some material in the YouTube channel. Thank you. That will be great. I try to make sense that volume profile for a while. I saw some use it for mirror version, but don't. Yeah, I believe Anna Collins also uses volume profiles, and a lot of people got more into volume profiles after that session that we had with Anna Collins. You're always spot on your entries. How do you keep so patient? That's is my biggest problem. So Steve, when it comes to patience, it's really not about if you're a patient person in like real life or a patient person when it comes to, I don't know, watching paint dry. I think it's more about just waiting for a price action to develop. If you see price action developing against you, that's a red flag. Like youngsters like to call it now. It's a red flag to close your position. But if you don't see a really if you don't see, like, let's say you're long, and if you don't see that really nice green momentum candle get taken over by the sellers, why will you close your position? And that's the thing. That's the big difference about futures and options. That I mean, I love trading options, but I just love trading futures a lot more because you don't have theta working against you. Future contracts do not decay. Is your YouTube private for the team, or can I see without? You can see it without the link. It's not private. Actually, let me see if I can get the link really quick right here and post it for you guys. Just give me 1 second. Follow-up question about current risk. If I have 10,000 in my account, would I need to worry about anything beyond gaps on swings, especially if I always set a stop loss on each trade? Well, the minimum requirement for example, on TradeObate, I believe is $12,300. So once your account hits $12,299.99, you get liquidated. So just have that in mind. Once you go 1 cent below margin requirement, it's over. Volume profiles. Let's see right here. Copy. Usually, if I always that's why if you're day trading, you need $500 minimum. And you have a $10,000 account, just know that you can't swing a contract in the ES mini, but you can on ES micro. But just know that, just like with options, if we have a gap up or a gap down, you will see that reflect on your position. Do you use, and there's the link for the first class I ever did on volume profiles for the group. So you guys can take a look at it, get familiar with volume profiles for when we start doing the other classes. Do you use level 2 in our time and sales? Yes, I do. I do use level 2 in time and sales every day. That's when you guys hear me saying, there's 2,000 lots around this level or in this area and stuff like that. That's me watching level 2. And time and sales is basically all the orders coming in the market. But yes, I do use both of those, but I use more level 2 than time and sales. Time and sales, I only look at it when we hit major lot positions. I want to see if those orders are coming in or not. But it's a bit difficult to learn that. For that, you actually need to sit on your laptop, on your PC, and watch hours and hours of level 2 and time and sales to understand what's going on. Any other questions? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem, guys. Guys and gals. So, do you enter positions on patterns? Jacob, not very often, no. I don't really like trading patterns. Sometimes I'll trade uh bear flags or bull flags, but there has to be a very particular setup in the volume and price action for me to enter a bull flag or bear flag. Yeah, no problem, man. Any other questions? Thanks, appreciate the class. Yeah, no problem. So I think we're gonna call it a night now, guys. How long did the class last? Where can I see how long it lasted? And I'm also going to start recording right now. Let's see, start recording.